Parents taking charge, navigating the modern childhood vaccine schedule. The landscape of childhood vaccination has transformed dramatically over the past few decades. Where parents in the 1980s navigated a schedule of roughly 7 vaccines protecting against 7 diseases, today's parents face a CDC-recommended schedule with vaccines protecting against 14 to 16 diseases, administered through multiple doses in the first 18 months of life alone. This expansion, well rooted in scientific advancement and public health goals, has prompted many parents to take a more active, questioning role in their children's healthcare decisions. Understanding the shift. The increase in recommended vaccines stems from genuine medical progress. Scientists have developed safe and effective immunizations against diseases like rotavirus, hepatitis B, and various strains of meningitis that once hospitalized or killed thousands of children annually. The pneumococcal vaccine alone has reduced serious infections by more than 80% since its introduction. From a public health perspective, these additions represent tremendous victories. What many parents find notable is the timing of this expansion. Before the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act passed in 1986, the childhood vaccine schedule remained relatively stable. After the liability protections took effect, the number of recommended vaccines increased substantially. By the mid-1990s, new vaccines entered the schedule regularly. This correlation, whether coincidental or not, raises questions in some parents' minds about whether the removal of legal liability may have made pharmaceutical companies more willing to develop and market vaccines, knowing their financial risk was limited. Public health officials point out that the timing also coincided with major advances in vaccine technology, increased research funding, and better understanding of infectious diseases. The expansion reflected scientific capability as much as legal framework. However, for parents already concerned about corporate influence in medicine, the timing feels significant and reinforces worries about profit motives superseding safety considerations. Yet for parents standing in a pediatrician's office, watching their infant receive multiple injections in a single visit, the experience can feel overwhelming. Many describe feeling caught between trust in medical expertise and an instinctive desire to protect their child from anything that causes distress or carries even minimal risk. The decision to question or modify the standard vaccine schedule doesn't fit neatly into simple categories. Parents who choose alternative schedules span diverse backgrounds, education levels, and belief systems. What unites many of them is a desire for greater agency in healthcare decisions. Some parents worry about the cumulative effect of multiple vaccines given simultaneously. They question whether an infant's immune system can handle several vaccines at once, even though research has consistently shown that children's immune systems successfully manage thousands of antigens daily through normal environmental exposure, far exceeding the number in all vaccines combined. Others express concern about vaccine ingredients like aluminum adjuvants or trace preservatives, despite regulatory standards ensuring these components remain at levels considered safe by toxicological standards. The gap between scientific consensus on safety and parental comfort with that consensus has widened in an era where information, misinformation, and personal anecdotes circulate freely online. Trust represents another significant factor. Some parents have lost confidence in pharmaceutical companies after corporate scandals, or feel that financial incentives might influence vaccine recommendations. Others have had negative experiences with medical providers who dismissed their concerns rather than engaging in genuine dialogue. A particularly contentious issue fueling parental concern is the liability protection granted to vaccine manufacturers. Since the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act of 1986, pharmaceutical companies cannot be sued directly for vaccine-related injuries in most circumstances. Instead, families must pursue claims through the National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program, VICP, a federal system funded by a tax on vaccines. This legal framework arose after multiple lawsuits in the 1980s threatened to drive vaccine manufacturers out of the market entirely, potentially creating critical shortages. The government, recognizing vaccines as essential to public health, created the VACP as a compromise, a no-fault system designed to compensate legitimate injuries more efficiently than traditional litigation while maintaining vaccine availability. However, many parents view this arrangement with deep skepticism. They argue that removing liability eliminates a critical incentive for manufacturers to ensure safety and transparency. When companies face no direct legal consequences for injuries, what motivates them to exceed minimum safety standards? This concern intensifies when parents learn that the VACP itself can be difficult to navigate, with a burden of proof on families and a limited list of recognized injuries that may not cover all adverse events. The compensation program has paid out over $4.5 billion since its inception, acknowledging that while rare, vaccine injuries do occur. Yet defenders note this represents payments from tens of millions of vaccine doses administered. Critics counter that the difficulty of proving causation in the VACP system may mean many legitimate injuries go uncompensated or unrecognized. This uncertainty, combined with the liability shield, leaves some parents feeling that their children bear the risks while corporations enjoy the profits without accountability. In response to these concerns, some parents work with healthcare providers to create modified vaccination schedules. These might involve spacing out vaccines rather than giving multiple shots in one visit, delaying certain vaccines until the child is older, or selectively choosing which vaccines to give based on perceived disease risk. Dr. Robert Sears popularized one such alternative schedule that spreads vaccines over more visits, reducing the number given at any single appointment. Some parents follow this or similar approaches, believing it reduces stress on their child's system, even though no scientific evidence supports improved safety with spacing. Other parents conduct their own risk-benefit analyses for each vaccine, considering factors like disease prevalence in their community, their child's specific health circumstances, and their family's lifestyle. A family that doesn't travel internationally might view hepatitis A vaccination differently than one that frequently visits countries where the disease is common. Parents whose children aren't in daycare might weigh the urgency of certain vaccines differently than those whose infants are in group care settings. Pediatricians and immunologists emphasize that the CDC schedule is designed not arbitrarily, but based on careful consideration of when children are most vulnerable to specific diseases and when vaccines provide optimal protection. Delaying vaccines leaves children unprotected during high-risk periods. Measles, for instance, can be most dangerous in very young children, which is why the vaccine is recommended at 12 months. The medical community also stresses that spacing out vaccines means more appointments, more needle sticks over time, and extended periods of vulnerability. During every week a child goes unvaccinated against a disease, they remain at risk if exposed. In communities with high vaccination rates, this risk is minimized by herd immunity, but that protection erodes as more parents delay or decline vaccines. Healthcare providers worry that the rise in alternative schedules contributes to disease outbreaks. Recent measles outbreaks in various US communities have been traced to pockets of unvaccinated or undervaccinated children. Whooping cough, once nearly eliminated, now sickens thousands annually, with infants too young to be fully vaccinated facing the highest risk of severe complications. The tension between parental autonomy and public health need not be entirely adversarial. Progressive healthcare providers are learning that dismissing parental concerns as ignorant or hysterical often backfires, entrenching resistance. Instead, many now practice motivational interviewing, a technique that explores parents' specific worries, provides tailored information, and respects their decision-making role while clearly communicating medical recommendations and risks. Some parents find compromise by adhering to the standard schedule for vaccines protecting against the most serious or prevalent diseases, while delaying others they consider less urgent. This approach keeps children protected against major threats while giving parents a sense of control. Transparency also helps build trust. When doctors explain not just what vaccines contain, but why each ingredient is included, or acknowledge that while vaccines carry small risks, the diseases they prevent carry far greater ones, parents often feel more respected and informed. Sharing actual data about adverse event rates versus disease complication rates can ground conversations in reality rather than fear. As more parents take charge of vaccine decisions, society faces complex questions about individual rights versus collective responsibility. Vaccination has always involved a social contract. By protecting our own children, we also protect vulnerable people who cannot be vaccinated due to age, allergies, or immune conditions. When that contract weakens, disease resurges, and the most vulnerable suffer first. Yet heavy-handed mandates without exemptions can deepen resistance and drive families away from the medical system entirely. Some states have eliminated all non-medical exemptions to school vaccine requirements, while others maintain philosophical or religious exemptions. The effectiveness of these varying approaches remains debated, with both public health and ethical considerations at stake. The increase in childhood vaccines reflects remarkable scientific achievement, but the accompanying increase in parental concern reflects something equally important: a cultural shift toward informed consent and patient autonomy. The challenge for healthcare systems is honoring both values simultaneously. Parents taking charge of vaccine decisions need access to accurate, understandable information that acknowledges uncertainty where it genuinely exists, while clearly distinguishing established science from speculation. They need healthcare providers willing to spend time discussing concerns rather than rushing through appointments, and they need communities that support both individual choice and collective well-being. For parents navigating these decisions, the path forward involves seeking reliable information sources, finding healthcare providers who respect questions while providing evidence-based guidance, and honestly weighing both the risks of vaccines and the diseases they prevent. Taking charge doesn't mean going it alone or rejecting expertise. It means becoming an informed partner in your child's healthcare, asking hard questions, and making thoughtful decisions that protect not only your child, but also the broader community in which they'll grow and thrive.